relationship where, you could have wine over Zoom or whatever, the partner scheduled somebody else to like set up the most amazing date for the one person that they had no idea was going to be available in their house.
Yeah.
So to have that room, because, sometimes you're either so scheduled, but also that little spontaneity. So I think one of the benefits of having relationships as we get older is we know ourselves more.
Yes.
And those lines, and that's what we're willing to bring. And the commitment and the consistency, right? The commitment to us being like opposed to letting some of the little BS things take out.
Yeah.
And, depending on the context for the relationship, like when there's a future, then you're willing to tolerate this, that, or the other thing. Because sometimes long distance relationships, people are like sitting by the phone because I'm supposed to talk to you it's 11 o'clock my time already. Where the heck are you? And then they can get all upset.
Yeah, that's definitely can be an issue. Do you think that that there's an attractive, like based on maybe where you're at or your what fit your needs at the time or desires, like that there was a certain comfort with the boundary of a long distance relationship, as in lieu to like when you meet someone at a mall or wherever in life in your everyday where you're at,
the convenience,
and then you have that convenience factor, and then there's almost that kind of that pressure to escalate, because you can see them at any time that you want. That's how I look at it. I feel like, oh man, they're like, like where do you go from talking on the phone all the time? I know this person well enough to, I really want it. That litmus test that a long distance relationship has, where you're gone, like you got to really commit to see this person. It's non-existent in a short-term relationship. And for some people who, really care about intention and being with the right person, that those extra steps are attractive, consciously or subconsciously.
So with Joe, it was the connection and who he was, that was fine. And I was busy with work. With David, I was able to also kind of focus on work. And then, we had the us time, right? And that was different. And you're in your bubble, right? That cluster date bubble, and so it served things when I was younger. And having gone through losing both my parents and things like that, the big missing was having that hand to hold, right? So now, I'm talking 3 hours by car as long distance, right, where, I was considering flying or what have you. And I think where people are at a different stage of life, then, is the immediate plans. Like I want to have, a partner, because, some people say, get married, have separate houses, right? There's one couple in Hollywood where they have separate houses and they can have nights and dates at each other's house, but you don't have to be on top of each other and making each other crazy, which sometimes happens if you've got a Felix and an Oscar living with each other, or, when you're in that proximity, it's like, that old adage about the girl saying, there was an article years ago, and I think it was in Cosmo, and the girl's like, are you thinking about me? And the guy's like, he basically was thinking about his oil change, because she said we met 3 months ago, and he's thinking of something completely different, and then she's taking it as disinterest.
Right.
So, over time, when things work and you're connected with that person, then considering like, how is it going to work, or what's going to be that option?
Right.
Would I've considered moving to Canada?
That was going to be my next question. Closing the gap, it has to come at some point, right? Or not?
Right.
Yeah, because they have incredible healthcare, right? But leaving my family was like a big consideration, and New York has that draw. But in the event that tomorrow, and unfortunately, David passed as well. So both of the men who I was involved with long distance passed. David was dancing at his brother's wedding with his new wife, and he had a heart attack.
Wow.
So, and I had no idea. And so I had sent him a note because I was going to see Bette Midler on Broadway, and he had gotten tickets when we were going to Las Vegas. Because I said that was one of my dreams. The next, they appear in my inbox, and I'm like, da 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 da. And then I was in Costa Rica at a retreat, and all of a sudden we just got back from snorkeling, and everybody is in the pool, and they hear me just shriek. And it was a note from his wife saying, you sent a note to him, and must not have known David passed in October. And I lost it because, that's not something you expect.
Right.
So, yeah. But so considering, what's the plan? Is it something, and it's just like dating nowadays, right? It's fascinating how there are certain people who just want to have the date for fun right now, or do you want to build something?
Right.
And so to be clear about the intention and not take it personally.
Yeah.
In sales training way back when, this one teacher who I didn't like, but he said something and I've used it a bunch of times, right? Some do, some don't. So what?
That's right.
Right. That if someone doesn't, right? David didn't want to have kids. Someone else who I connected with didn't want to have kids. And it was like heartbreaking for me at the time. Like, what do you I internalized it like you didn't want to have kids with me. And that was, awful. But that was their commitment for their lives because they wanted different paths. So long story short, but, do you have some time just to really enjoy a person without qualifying it, right? Some people, when women are younger, right, the reproductive years are a big deal, and what do they need, and are they ticking against the clock and what have you. So if you are involved at distance and that's an issue, then have the conversations, right? Certain people, harvest their eggs to make sure that they can deal with that accordingly.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
You got to have that conversation. You both have to be on the same page if it's moving, right?
Yeah.
If it ends up just being
same intention too, same intention behind it.
Yeah.
And more people are, looking for fulfillment, where before people would have jobs and that was it. I'm going to work till I'm this and then retire, and then life ends and I just, sit in my rocking chair and waste away. Where my next door neighbor was 82 and vibrant, and she lived a life that was so much fun. Or you see the people like Mel Brooks living till 96. There's so much you can continue to do beyond just like, life is over. So it's, it's the life in your years.
The thing that I was thinking about is the important thing that I've learned in a long distance relationship. So I've been in like the type where you're just like responsible. Like I was in the military, and I was like, I had either my kids' mom, either one of my kids' moms at one point or another where I was deployed. And I looked at that was a long distance relationship, whether it was, decided or imposed or whatever the situation was. So, I had that circumstance. And what I've like, when it's just kind of this like weird, I call you because you're my significant other. That's kind of with me, Cindy and I, like right away, I identify like, I will resent this woman for me liking her being this far away and having to spend this much time on the phone or whatever, if we don't have something that we can be productive with. And then through working together, I realized, and because when you live in a household together, and have different things, there's responsibilities. That's more of a co-ownership or a cohabitation. So you're cohabitating. So you have to like obviously share these responsibilities. So when people have responsibilities like taking initiative to come meet the person or calling the person, that's a good start, right? Of a symbol or a way,
a gesture,
act of service, right? A gesture to the person for them to understand like what your intention and what your willingness is. Because I think the person's willingness is really like a big part of it, right? And then for she and I, we created things to work on together so that we feel like we're being productive and useful and of service. And like we might have a mind-blowing conversation, right? And as opposed to she and I having it on the phone for our own, listening and viewing entertainment, whatever, like we've created something and that someone might, be able to take from it later on. You know what I mean? So I think it's like that working relationship is like really, really important. And not just like, oh, we work together, but building something together.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And like you're a lot into laughter yoga. This isn't so much advice, but just observation, right? But like you're into the laughter yoga and you're into these things and like leaning into things that people that are into that, like, and you know what I mean? I don't know, like, but that's the stuff I think that like gives you that connection where you're like, we just have this in common. Like it's like that's my twin or whatever on this thing here. So it's like there's a deeper connection that's kind of beyond the distance and beyond the like what other things may be available like right in your face, you know, if that all, you know.
But do you guys also do things like, movie night where it's
Yeah,
like got the popcorn and you're like,
absolutely.
Ever since COVID, that became something that you can now, share more
We
easily.
do.
Oh,
We do
definitely.
movie
Yeah.
nights. We do lots of things off work stuff. But yeah, it's the building is amazing. Movie nights are great. We can't do dinner because we can't do dinner.
I mean, we can. It would just be like silly. Look, here's what I'm eating.
No, we can't do dinner.
That looks great.
We can't do dinner because it's dinner for you. It's dinner for you now. It's breakfast for me. I say we can't do dinner.
Oh yeah. Oh, that part.
Time-wise.
Unless you both have dinner for breakfast on the different times.
Yeah. Breakfast is good all the time.
Yeah, we just have pancakes and
waffles.
Donna, question. Just one answer. Pancakes or waffles?
Oh, sorry, Dante. I make banana pancakes down the shore, so
that's fine. Doesn't hurt my feelings.
Although I do have to tell you, I've been making protein waffles in my little waffle maker.
That's what he does. That's what he does.
Yeah,
he does.
You make your own little like chemistry, like maca powder.
I make protein pancakes.
I use the chocolate protein powder from Premier with a little, and then you've got either cottage cheese or yogurt on it with some fruit.
Yeah,
I do protein pancakes. That's where I do.
And guess what happens, Cindy?
What happens?
Like all that cottage cheese and fruit just lands gently in those little squares, and so it's neat to eat.
No, I like it when it goes like that.
Oh, she wants the whole full gooey.
Yes. That's a spoon with her pancakes.
We've had a protein pancake. Waffle pancake love affair. I've never been a waffle person. I just can't do the waffle.
I'm from the South. We do chicken and waffles.
I know. It blows my mind. That is the weirdest thing I've ever seen in my life.
Or when she had grits?
When you get no.
Did you have grits?
No, I did not. No. See, I don't like anything that's like that consistency.
We've been to Flying Biscuit twice though.
Yeah, but I did not have that. I had a tofu omelet.
See, I would never eat the tofu. It's like blocks of soy. Absolutely not.
Yeah, but but yeah, no, the food I can't the food in different parts of the world fascinates me, and the chicken and waffles, or where is it that you go that you get like a chicken biscuit, right? So here's my mind: chicken biscuit is something savory, and then you get strawberry jam or jelly, whatever you guys call it,
and put it on
go
the
with
biscuit.
your chicken biscuit.
Oh, really?
So I'm just sitting there going,
yeah,
okay, dessert.
No,
meal?
it's like it's good. It's good.
Yeah, I know it's interesting. It's interesting. Anyway, we got completely off topic. We started talking about food now.
Yeah, she asked us about movie night.
Movie night, right? Yes.
The differences.
Yeah, and she talked about movie night. So we did the movie night. Ironically, we started out doing like YouTube night that we'd watch like really obscure stuff on YouTube. And our first ever movie night, and I still remember it. Do you remember what movie it is, Cindy?
I can't at this time. No.
You can't remember? All right.
No, tell me.
The one about the We Are the World documentary.
Yes, that was one we watched. Yes, I was thinking of the movie because I remembered that one when you just started talking. The first thing we watched together was that. Yeah,
the We Are the World.
Phenomenal.
Or was it the American Gladiator documentary?
No, we were watching those as.
Then we started watching episodes of American Gladiator together.
back in the 90s.
And comparing American Gladiator to all the other, because then there were spin-offs all over the world.
Yeah,
And
they really weren't spin-offs though.
they were
were
embarrassments, and it proved
were.
that American supremacy in athletics is in the world.
Facts.
It was true though, because you're like, where'd they get this guy from?
I was
my PE teacher up there. Like,
we watched American Gladiator, and my mind clearly blocks out because I'm like, oh yeah, we had that too. We had great. So I'm talking shit the whole time, and we watched like 10 American Gladiators, and then we put the Australian one on, and I was like, okay, turn it off. We don't have to do this. It was so bad. It was terrible. But we do have movie nights. We have music nights when we just listen to music.
Yeah.
We don't do mixtapes, but we send each other music sometimes.
Or playlists, right? To have that, or have like the fun music, or, create a playlist for like the next time you're getting together and have each one of you like responsible for having the fun with it.
Every time he sends me something music, I add it to a playlist. I create a playlist of all the music that he sends me. So I'm basically creating that.
Every time we've linked up, like there was an artist or music or songs, a series of songs that we would listen to. So like when we met in Hawaii, we were listening to a lot of this guy, Devin the Dude, To the Extreme. So that was a lot. That was like kind of like our Hawaii theme song, To the Extreme, right? And then so after then, where was the next place I saw you again? Oh wait, Chicago. I forgot Chicago.
Chicago was first. But you know what? That was what we did with that. Was when we watched Heat. When we watched the movie Heat, we had that music from Heat.
We were listening to a lot of Moby, and it was a lot of just like non-lyric music, like guitar riffs and real like kind of mystical, kind of like meditative type, just like real good sonic stuff. So that was that then, and then we were listening to like, and then and then on the road trip we had ironically had a playlist we were gonna listen. Like we said, we're gonna listen to this on the road trip. But then that's not what we listened to on the road trip, because it was like I needed like a certain level of energy to stay awake, and that would have been
12 hours.
12 hours straight. We drove to Chicago. It was so crazy.
Wow.
It was crazy. I didn't realize it was like 3 hours more than Indianapolis, and 6 hours of driving added on to it was a lot. So so music, that's our music. Yeah, so we've created different songs that kind of almost like are nostalgic to to times that we've linked up. Like then we met, like then we were in LA. What would be the song for LA? Oh, Quasi KO. Yeah, Quasi KO. Yeah. So he would see. Yeah, we did all that stuff. So all right. So back to you, Donna.
I was going to ask you guys a question.
Please, more. Yes, go.
Ask the 36 questions that the New York Times said to like really get to know someone.
We've probably covered them all, I'm sure.
All right.
Well, I mean, like the amount that we've talked, the way that we know each other, like,
I don't know what these questions are.
I don't know the questions though.
Yes, no, it's like they had an article about like 36 questions about falling in love and talking about your partner, and then somebody giving back to you, right? Because just like the game of telephone, I can whisper something to Dante. You might hear something completely different, Cindy, based on what he's heard.
Do you have the 36 questions?
I will send you guys the link.
Oh, I thought you were about to do it right now.
You might want to chuck them. You can ask them if you had them.
Yeah, you can ask them right now.
Would it be hard to bring up? I'd be interested to see what they are.
Yeah, all right, here we go.
We're game. Like, we don't care. We'll go for it.
Here we go. Yeah.
Right. You got us on recording and all.
Cindy in the hot seat.
Oh, wait. Stop the tape. So, right. So we went to
you're live? You're still live? Did you say stop the tape?
No. I'm a good actor. You took it for real.
No, I'll tell you why, because I thought you were just about to say
something. No, I was saying that, like, she's going to ask a question.
Yeah, we'll turn it off first.
Yeah, like, turn it off. No, we're good.
Serious. Yeah, no, the idea is that mutual vulnerability fosters closeness.
Mutual
Absolutely.
vulnerability. Okay.
Gosh, we've been very vulnerable, babe. We've done some deep vulnerability.
There you go. So you know what? I will send them, and you guys can work that.
No.
Yeah, it's pretty. 36 questions. We'll probably be here about
Just
another 2
give us
hours.
give us 3 or 4. You can say what I would like to know what kind
dramatic
of
zoom on that too, by the way.
Yeah, to check my shoulders out, because I've been
Okay.
smooth. But yeah, no, it's been quite a ride. That's amazing, those relationships, Donna, that you've just.
And I got one question. I do have one last question for you though. About yeah. Oh, you want to answer now? All right. So like, out of all that, like, because I could tell, we all have like a lot of stuff that we've learned from not even so much like I learned this from that, but more so how did I grow from all that, and like who am I? Who do you feel like you are, and what do you feel like would kind of fulfill you? It's more as much as you're comfortable, going to. That's kind of a roundabout type of
I used to, growing up, I didn't necessarily know if I believed in marriage because I didn't know if I saw the examples where it worked, because fighting can be a chosen communication style of couples, but little kids are like, oh, mommy and daddy don't love each other. Right. So, and it was through seeing great partnerships with my friends where each other was like the other's best cheerleader. And so for me, I'll give a plug for our friend Rainbow. In doing some work with him, I was able to dislodge some things that were in the way that I couldn't see, right? I liken those to like noses, right? Everybody can see mine, but I can't usually when I'm looking out my eyes. So, building trust was huge. And I used to make people go through like huge hurdles. So I had the most amazing relationship with someone who, it's the antithesis of what you're raised, right? You're raised, you want tall, dark, and handsome. No offense, Dante. And I ended up meeting someone. I wasn't even dressed for it. I was working, and then I was like, oh, told this guy I'd meet him for a walk. And I met this guy who's 5'3" and I'm 5'9". And so we met on the High Line in New York City. We were going for a walk. And 2 things came up that we had things in common. One was I had lost a friend that year, and he had lost his wife 4 years early on the exact same day, which was such an odd coincidence.
Wow.
And then he was the scientist who discovered why mice get addicted to alcohol. Like, he had a PhD in neuroscience and did all this stuff, and because he had a dad who drank, and he was the most amazing person. And so we were incredible, and he just wanted to, again, be there for me. And I wasn't there enough for myself. Right. So now I've got that awareness to bring me and communicate if I'm getting stuck. So I'm someone who is in the evolution of being Donna, because I don't think you're ever done. Like, you put a chicken or salmon in the oven, and after 15 minutes, whatever your cooking is done, we're constantly taking away things that are in our way. So I'm someone who's committed to a path of growth in partnership with someone where we get to be loving and playful. Like, it was funny, you talked about internet dating. If someone has silly in their profile, it catches my attention because they can have that fun. If somebody can't, I have an African print in my house. It's like, if there's no laughter, it's not for me, because life is so, laughter makes the good times great and the bad times suck less. So someone who can have that and, play off of it. And I'm willing to, be there with them and meet them. And relationships are, we grow up thinking it has to be 50-50. I'll give you this much, but it's like, you have to balance with where people are at. Somebody's at 30 this day. Well, okay, you can do 70 if that's okay. Or, babe, I'm minus that 10. So can we meet here and then, creatively come up with something? Yeah. So, someone who's responsible for my feelings in a relationship and willing to work with a partner about that. And literally I had gone out with someone just a couple of times, and I was like, okay, here are things you need to know. Like, just like I said, it's important to get your deal breakers out early. Here are some challenges. Like, if this doesn't work for you, then I'm not for you as well. Right.
Yeah,
So that way it's
absolutely.
responsible for somebody else's time, just because I'm not here to use somebody for my validation. Luckily you do that homework. There are certain people who, the other adage is men sometimes feel like they're the ATM because they feel like they have to protect and provide and do all this stuff, where, depending on people's finances and such, you can talk about, oh, I can take this. Do you want to take that? Or how do you show up other ways? With Joe, it was so funny, right? Acts of service. Whenever he would come north, I always had made his lasagna, and the favorite things that he liked, was always here to kind of, express and show that, like those little things. So I'm someone who is committed to a partnership where we're better together, right? And the fun things are those memories that also you get to create, those moments that are so silly or just yours, or, do you remember when we did this? So Awesome. That was a long answer. Sorry.
Oh, no, sorry.
No,
I love it.
Yeah,
it's just the level of awareness, I think, too. The level of awareness that you acquire along the way is just incredible, with age as well,
Yeah.
So I like.
All right, so we'll do the easy questions. Question 1: given the choice of anyone in the world, whom would you want as a dinner guest?
Oh, I've heard this question before.
Dead or alive, or
interpret it however you want.
As just like a dinner guest, so I could just sit there and talk to somebody,
or you can take them to a Braves game or whatever.
I would probably have to hang out with Denzel Washington and just acting with him for dinner. I think just talking to him about mindset, staying humble, staying who you are, and being super, super successful as an actor. That'd be a dynamite. That would be a fantastic experience. That'd be my dinner guest.
I've always said this question's come up before and I've answered it, but I've got two. I've got two answers. Depends on if you want the second one. But I never got to meet my grandmother, my mum's mum, ever. And I would love, because I know how my mother is, and I know how her 9 sisters are, right? Or 8 sisters. And I would just always love to know who she was, because I just wanted that next level of knowing where I came from and just the type of woman that she was. She had 13 children. So phenomenal, 13 children, farm woman, obviously. But at the end of the day, just to see my aunties and the way that they are as women, I would just love to have had a conversation with her. That's my first one. But then if it's does family not included, or someone that's famous, it would probably be Ariana Huffington from the Huffington Post, because the way she manages and builds people, and the way her company is built on making sure that her employees are happy and love what they do as much as what she has built. So going into the spaces of where I'm going purpose-wise, I would love to know. I'd love to pick her brain. I think she's phenomenal.
I got to add one. I forgot. Okay. So person dead. All right, because I'm Native. I'm got a lot of Native American. So, and Italian. Probably both. It's a toss-up. We're getting to a lot of people, but it would be my Native American, like an ancestor, that really, really was significant. That was Native American, historically, or was in a battle, whatever their most significant experience of life is. I would love to feel and see that and talk to them about that.
Yeah.
So yeah.
All right, this one I almost want to make you guys write down, and then we can compare the answers. So it says, name 3 things you and your partner appear to have in common.
Let's write it down. I'll text it.
Because then we can make...
No cheating, no editing. No.
What are we doing? So why am I writing it down?
Well, because that way you can be okay, here are my 3. And because, in case all of a sudden, if you go first, Dante's that answer was really good that Cindy said. I'm going to take that one.
I was wondering why we're writing it down. All right.
She's like, what do you mean? I'll keep it honest.
I was so lost.
All right. 3 things that we have in common.
Yep.
Oh, easy.
And Cindy, I thought your third person would have been Teddy Swims.
Ah.
If I had a third, yeah.
She's gonna meet
Teddy
Swims.
Teddy Swims. Can I tell you, I have a girl crush on his girlfriend too. She's fucking amazing. So I can't wait to meet both of them. She's really cute. As in, like, for them together, she's really cute. Like, I like that dynamic.
All right, I got my 3. This mic, make sure it stays plugged in. I did the whole last interview with the mic unplugged, and it sounded so bad. I had to do all this editing. Terrible.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Where's WhatsApp? There we go.
You're thinking too hard on this, Cindy.
No, I just that's all right. I'm just writing. Actually, I'm just writing. Beautiful. No, that's fine. Done.
Okay, and I just sent you the link, Cindy, to all the questions, so that way you guys can take it. All right. So who wants to go first?
I'll go first. All right. So, all right. So I'm gonna say our sarcasm, like we're both sarcastic the same way. So like we're not like, dang, he's being a jerk or she's being a whatever, by saying certain stuff. And then we think the same on a lot of things. Like the way I look at something is like makes sense to her the same way. I'm like, so it makes it easy. And then we get the same, like obviously we've done a lot of experiences and we're getting like the same value, like what's important, her values and my values are very much in alignment. So just to summarize. Yeah.
All right. Well, mine's are more summarized than that. Okay.
Oh wow. No thought at all. Thank you so much.
No. Hang on a sec. You might eat your words, mister. All right. First one is our sense of loyalty. All right. So we're very big on that. We're very big on that in regards to in between both of us, loyalty. And then in general, there's people that show up. Second point is our commitment to building legacy. All right. So that's the second one. Yeah. We have that individually, we have ideas, but together we also have them. And then just the companionship as for me, as him being my person and vice versa. We have that. Like that's it.
Only one similar answer. That's the only, we only have one similar answer. That's good.
What do you mean? Oh, right. Gotcha.
Number 3.
Between. but in general, if we're going to go down the sarcasm, we can sit there laughing for hours, and we'll randomly spin off on something. And then we end up in a completely different conversation that we've just made up in our heads, which is phenomenal because it's like, how the hell did we end up there? But,
we always have FOMO on the, all right, good night. And then we get on another 20-minute conversation.
Yeah. He's like, oh, I have a curfew. Apparently I must be. Because when we talk, so we talk basically twice a day, right?
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. So we talk my nighttime, which is as he's getting up, right? So my curfew is 1:00 in the morning. I have to go to bed. So he goes, okay, so it's almost 1, I've got to go to bed. And then all of a sudden it's 1:30 because we've decided to derail the plan to go to bed. And then the next time we talk is usually when I drive to work because I've got Sydney traffic is an asshole. And it's your evening over there. So I'll ring up and I can find out how his day went as my day starts. So yeah. Well, I don't even know why I said that, but that
sometimes like we're in different vibes though. Like I'm all caffeinated and like zooming. It's like gotta go.
And I'm like,
everything that I've like got all this stuff on my mind. I'm ranting, and she's like, oh yeah, I'm in bed now. Like I'm like, oh yeah, my bad. So it's sometimes that does, or it's vice versa. I'm like, I've had a long day and I'm just sitting there.
And he's like, babe, 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 babe,
Like,
babe.
slow down.
Babe, I can't. I can't. All right, we'll talk later. But I always know when I hear that, he says, babe, 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 babe. I'm like, all right, I've got to tone it down a little bit. Shh, babe, calm down.
See, that helps
I'm
us
all
a lot
caffeinated.
too. We don't get mad or judge each other.
Don't take it
or,
personally.
Like,
Yeah, no,
like you don't go like, "What's your problem? You don't never let me like you're not listening." Like she doesn't, or she'll say, "I know you're not listening to me, but it's fine."
No, he'll go. Sorry, babe. What did you say? I was distracted. I'll be like, it doesn't really matter. Don't worry about it. I'm not repeating myself. You missed it. No.
All right, next. I'm sorry. Whenever you're ready, next question.
Oh, you ready for the next question? Okay, those you are so funny. Okay. All right. Questions. Okay, we did the first 10 and now.
Dang, that was 10. Wow.
Well, no. We only did 2 out of the first 10. So
I was like, wow, man, that was amazing.
No.
Like stacked together.
All right, hang on. I hit the
Three
wrong hyperlink. Okay, here we go.
each.
All right, set 2. What is the greatest accomplishment of your life? You don't have to write anything down.
All right, good. The greatest. I'll let Cindy go first. This one. I already know the answer to this one.
My answer? You know my answer to it? No. My greatest accomplishment for me is the way my children have become amazing human beings. So for me, I just look at them and I'm so proud that I haven't because I've done a lot of things wrong. You know, as parents, you're always like, oh, I shouldn't have done that. And I regret some things that I've done. But at the end of the day, looking back on it now, maybe that served its purpose for them to become who they are, right? Because my daughter is a phenomenal person, and my son, it blows me away every day. So basically, they're my 2 greatest accomplishments, and my relationship with them probably would be mine. And now we've got grandbabies, so you know, that's what do I do? That's basically it. Really simple for me. And then also there's other things to come that might be big accomplishments, but I don't think they'll ever be greater than that for me.
Ironically, that's what I really like about Cindy, though, is like the people that her children are. It says a lot about who she is. You know, it's kind of like a resume. You know, because they're both like really solid people, very well adjusted, very mature for their age, family oriented people. So it's like it's impressive to watch. You know that.
And you met Gab as well.
And I've hung out with Gab. He's, you know what I mean? He has good energy. We have good rapport. You know, he was very open, you know, and we were more friendly. It was very, very comfortable, like right away. And I like that. Whereas a lot of times those types of situations can be awkward, or there can be schisms, or like people bringing in things from, you know, the past. So say the question again, because I know my answer, but I was like, oh wait, accomplishments. So my accomplishment would be probably because I like to like focus on the present and not be the result of kind of what I don't want to be like, oh yeah, well I did back in the day. I used to be a great football. No. So I used to like, my thing would be what I just did, like not so much because, wow, this is the biggest, most visible thing I've done or going to get me famous or attention or popular, whatever. But because I know the work that I've put in to do it, and that's booking Dexter and flying to Los Angeles and working with a big actor and having that opportunity, that's probably one of the greatest accomplishments, because it wasn't just like, oh, cool, I'm on TV, I'm famous now. It was like, which I'm not. I'm still like, I still mop floors and clean floors and have to fill in from the janitorial crew ladies from my accounts. But it was more so like the personal work that I knew that went into it, the personal development, the struggle, the self-reflection, the honesty with myself, the self-reflection, the recognizing certain patterns that were coming from when I was young that had me repeating and behaving a certain way in spite of maybe what I consciously wanted. I had to literally do certain things to just make a real subconscious shift. And like for me to do all that and continue to do it because it's required, to really be a successful, to not just go, he's a good looking guy and he's smooth and he does it all stylized, like, and to take it a different level, you have to have that self-reflection. So that's like my biggest achievement is going from where I was at, like totally disconnected it probably 6-7 years ago to where I was going to like being a very whole, complete and intentional individual.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That's a good one. I like that answer, babe.
Thanks. I was working on that one. I was like, that's it.
And you have done a lot of work too. I've seen a lot of work in the last
year, just since like everything and all the stuff. It's been a lot of change,
And people look at the role that you land. They don't look at all the little bits and pieces and steps and classes. And I'm going to learn this. There's so much that goes into that. So
a big thing for me, I had a lot of resistance in like I always just exchanged time for money. It was like my own best employee of my business. And I had to get out of that thinking and get into like abundance and, you know what I mean? And like bigger than me mindset. So, and put people in position. I had to start putting people in position and trusting and filtering through and trusting my discernment. A lot of things that I just was like intentionally avoiding because I was like, that just never turns out right for me. And then so I was avoiding, like, no, I don't want those 4 beauty salons that you want clean 5 days a week. No. I don't want that X amount of money per week and I can just sit there and bill it out and hire people. I don't want it. No, I'm too scared of that. I can't get that right. I'm not built for that. Like I would talk myself out of stuff. It was crazy. So that's probably the biggest leap and honestly, a lot of the, the stuff I did for the nonprofit at last year in that work, I go, holy crap, I can get shit done. So I was like, I started putting that energy into, I said, what if I do that for myself? And then that's where she and I really connected on like big ideas, goals. And because we put the same type of energy into things and it just, and from she and I, though, the way we give and from where we're given from, it creates a different type of energy and it's an effective energy and it's productive. And it's tangible. So anyway, I went on a rant.
We just hear our conversations go, and then we all of a sudden
you're doing 1:30 already.
Exactly. It's too funny. No, that's brilliant.
Yeah, so, and you just see how different people think, and it lands other ways. Like you're like, oh, it's gonna be, and you're like, oh no, and then you hear the expansion, right? Because it wasn't just the role, it was all the growth and what's led up into that.
Yeah.
You listen to any big actor like Glenn Morshower. He was in I was listening to him in the podcast today and he was talking about you can get the little co-star, a line or 2, 3 lines. But if you're not really self-actualized, you're not going to get the series regular because you're not going to have a strong enough opinion and a perspective on your own self and how your moods and behaviors are presented to other people. You have to be it's like playing a guitar and knowing what, like you can be like a kid and just be hitting the guitar and going, I'm doing it, I'm playing music, but it's bang, 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 bang. Like it's like there's no harmony to it, and your behavior as an actor can be the same way where it's like that's another podcast.
Trust me, I can join you because last week we were at an opening for the film festival and they had a kid DJing 80s music and he would do a slow song followed by something really super fast. Like he didn't have the music flowing and it was like a cacophony. Like you couldn't even enjoy yourself because you'd start dancing and then you hit the brick wall. So
then it'd be like, I don't want to slow dance.
I was like backing up. I was like, oh, this is awful.
The guys looking at you
as well. Like, 80s music was like the peak of all ballads was the 80s.
That's like some big
can I just,
ballad
speaking
comes
of that, my mother just bought me
Top Gun.
My mother just bought me tickets for Christmas to a concert with my sister, and Richard Marx is going to be one of the people that
Is he the guy with the big ass hair with the big mullet? I was thinking to him too when you were like, "Oh, what were you guys listening to?" I was like, "She's probably listening to Richard Marx and stuff."
Yeah.
Like, I swear to God, that's okay.
So many, like with all these Australian old 80s singers, and then there's Richard Marx as well at the Opera House in Sydney. So that's where my sister and I are headed for Christmas. I'm gonna curl my hair like the 80s style. I'm gonna get like Desperately Seeking Susan vibes, and I'm just gonna go and enjoy myself.
We're seeing Duran Duran on Halloween night. So, we're definitely, dressing up for that part. So,
Duran
and my friend wants to do my platinum wig, like really short 80s hair.
Yeah. My girl, Ali Dusso, the co-founder of Ever Mindful, she is the biggest Duran Duran fan I have ever known of. And
Duran Duran's pretty good.
She's every time I think of Duran Duran, I think of Ali. So
yeah, I got time for all that stuff. Nostalgia for me.
Yeah, I love all.
Hey, you ever heard of Donna? You ever heard of Eddie and the Cruisers?
Yes.
Remember that movie? Me and Cindy been jamming some Eddie and the Cruisers soundtrack.
So cool.
Way throwback. Yeah, we're like way throwback with that.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, Donna, question for you. I don't know if we're going to wrap this up soon or not because I'm having so much fun with it. But
it's really up to Donna how much time she has.
Exactly.
I'm not really in a rush.
Relationship-wise,
we can stop it at like 2 hours. Though. Is what about 2 hours maybe.
Relationship-wise now for you, like how's like, are you in a long-distance relationship? No relationship? What are you diving into these days?
Well, it's really interesting. I was set up with someone 20 years ago and I pulled back from it, and the two of us have become the best friends, and we're both involved in each other's families and helped each other through our moms. And someone met us. We went on this 80s cruise in New York City, and she's like, "How's your non-boyfriend boyfriend?" Right? So it's like you've got that. And the thing that I think we were afraid of is you don't want to mess it up when there's such a genuine thing. I mean, like my family knows about his family and all of this stuff. And so that's a big part of my life. And it's interesting because whenever I interview people to date, I'm like, okay, number one, are you homophobic? Well, because I have a best friend who's gay, and if you are, then that's an issue. Like, let's qualify you out early.
Yeah, that's right.
And then this other part, about my friend. And so, entertaining the thought, like I said, about the guy that's 3 hours away. So maybe I'll make a trip to go see Lois and Pete and then, arrange that. But, I'm more present to have the good stuff, where before, it's sad to say, like certain representatives of me showed up, right? Because, it was this, this was the hurt one, or when you talk to somebody else, or since that revelation with Rainbow, and I talked to someone who we used to spend time with each other, he's like, I always wondered why I could never break through to you. Right. And I never knew that was something that he perceived. And so, after the fact, like, it's fun if you go back and you interview some of the people that you used to date, like what happened with us, or, what were some of the things, because that reflection of who you are, right. In some of the stuff that I was trained in, who I am exists in who you are, right? Because sometimes with that loud inner critic, we don't hear ourselves very well unless you're pretty well balanced with your self-esteem. But somebody else can say, you're this, you're this, you're this. That's how you've shown up in their worlds. And it usually gets that other stuff quiet. So yeah. Would I do long distance like that with planes? I'd prefer someone who's a bit closer. And it's so funny how in today's world with the internet and phones that you need apps to find someone who might live in your town. Like, it's ridiculous that whole old school thing is no longer there.
That's true. It's interesting. But, I've used, I have a lot, my opinion on the apps is like, I still like genuine, like organic, old school meeting people, because it's like the app is so superficial, and it's like you kind of like hang out. Hey, I don't know what I really think about that. I think that I want to see you again. I'm not sure. Let me see what else is on the app. I'll let you know. Like what's available. Like, I don't know. Just,
the window shopping, right? Is there somebody better? or for certain people, the scammers. So with my background that in technology, and I did some work in cybersecurity, there was someone who contacted me and she's like, I met the man I'm going to marry next. Right? She'd been divorced 6 years. And we started talking and they met online and da, 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 da. And so he was in North Carolina and he was coming to meet her in New York. And I said, great. And I did my friends call me Miss FBI, right? So I can look up stuff about people and know what's going on before you even tell me.
He's looked us up, Cindy.
So I've done things, right? And I said, Lise, the only guy of that age is either 38 or 68. Which one is it when you video chatted? She goes, we've never done that. I go, you're going to get married? And she was contemplating having a physical relationship. I go, at least you haven't given him any money. To which she was like, he's a crypto expert and I've already sent him 250 in Bitcoin. And I'm like, okay, stop everything right now. And you tell him you have to see him, for people who have iPhones, FaceTime, you can use Skype, use whatever.
That was nice.
And they were supposed to meet the next day in New York, and the guy gaslit her and like, who is she to say that we have to do this? And long story short, luckily that's all she ended up losing, as opposed to more money. But people have lost like 600. I've heard of a story of someone saying their friend lost $600,000.
Whoa. And the vulnerability of people is crazy, and it's just so sad that they're out there. They're vultures. They're just waiting. When was it? Was it yesterday we were talking and I said you got a call from a scammer yesterday, Dante, while we were on the phone, and you came back, and it's like they will be willing to go through 100, 200, 300 people to get that one vulnerable person,
They send me the message and they're like, hey, did you just try to take $1,500 out of the ATM? And I'm like, $1,500 out of the ATM? What ATM is that? Like a Bitcoin? Like, I don't understand. And then it was a text message from Wells Fargo on an iPhone. So this is about the fourth time guys have tried this. Hey, sir, this is such and such with fraud detection. Da, 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 da. You tried to get da, 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 out of the thing, right? And I said, I didn't say yes or no. I just said, did you get my text message? And then they're like, I heard a guy whispering into him in the back. And then he told me to do something, like derogatory, profanity, vulgar. Yeah, he said that. Go do this. And I said, that's what I fucking thought. And then he just was like, you could tell he was like, you probably did one of those because like, oh shit, I had you from the minute you called. That's why I had that, because the guy that was training him was like, just get off the phone. He's not that's not a good candidate. I've been got before, to where I did put a code in, but I knew the password wasn't going to work, but I put it in and they got it. Because that's the other thing they'll do. They'll send you a text message. You and they'll say, put your password and sign into your account so you can view this fraud. But then you've just given them your bank account. They rush right into your account, hurry up, set up a Zelle, set up a thing real quick, and tell you to and accept that text message where it just said give me that code. What's that recovery code? Okay. And then they put it all in and they get the money. So, but anyway, I digress. But yeah, that was funny.
But it's crazy that people prey on that because, it's the lonely, they say loneliness is an epidemic. And so, the business of this, and, they used to be the seniors and just trying to sell them something, and they take it so much further.
Yeah, 100%.
And it's true. And when you're online, so your friend hadn't met this person, you generate these. It's very easy to have a conversation, and then you have this moment where it's intensified because you're not in the close vicinity, so you romanticize everything straight away, right? So it's like, oh, hang on, maybe there's something there. And then the other guy's probably nurturing her to a point where she's like, I'm going to marry this guy. Like in such a short time, I'm assuming. How long was the time frame for this?
I didn't ask her. It's, because it had been going on for a while. She's not, going to just jump. Yep.
Yeah. No, it's crazy. Thankfully for me, I've never been in a situation like that. And I haven't been on a dating website since 2000 and I don't know, I think it was 27 or 28. That's really early on. And it wasn't even really a dating website. It was like, it was a dating website. I think it was more like a pen pal, early 2000s, you know. I will never forget, it was actually called persons.com or person.com. So it wasn't really like you're there to date.
Oh, wow.
But because you could actually put in, you know, how far away do you, like, what's the close vicinity of people. And so technically it wasn't just dating. It was like just getting to know people and talking to people. But yeah, I haven't tried dating sites. I had a friend at work who tried to set me up on a dating website a few years ago. And I was vegan, right? So they're like, oh, did you know that there's like a whole vegan website for dating? And I was like, I'm not doing that shit. I'm not doing that.
Soy boy.
So then they said, happy soy boy. And they set up, we're going to set this up and do this. And I was like, okay, cool, no worries. And I never, ever did a single thing on that. Like, that profile exists out there, but I've never liked a photo because apparently the women have to instigate it, right? So since person.com to today's day and age, women have to instigate the connection on a dating
That's
website.
Bumble.
Apparently.
Bumble used to be like that. They stopped doing that. Yeah.
Which I'm like, there's no way I'm instigating a conversation. Like, it's like, I even said to Dante, we would not be talking had he not sent me a message. Like, I would never have done, that's not in my nature to jump out and go, ta-da.
Yeah, I don't really approach people that often either. Like the last time I was approached first, and that's what initiated. But yeah, I that's interesting. You know, I used to be on dating sites, and the dating sites I would be on were one of them used to be able to say the body type you liked. You know, which I don't see anything wrong with that. They took that off all the apps now, right? You know,
yeah, now it's sensitive.
Right, like you're like, I got catfish. They're like, no, you're not being tolerant, and like I said, the problems with you now for like, you know, having a standard, type, whatever.
It's
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you don't like it, you don't like it.
Yeah. Why? You know, it's like it is what it is. You know, if it's a Cadillac, don't call it a Kia, like, or whatever. Like, you know, anyway. That's bad. That's the guy in me. Sorry.
I want to share a story with you guys. There was a friend who met someone on Bumble, and the app said that they were 11 miles apart, and they were getting so connected, and the app had a misfunction. Tom lived in Brooklyn. She lived in South Africa.
What?
And
maybe
so they were like, "Oh,
was she traveling? Was she traveling?"
No, but the app just glitched. And so it was more like, I think, 11,000 miles or something crazy.
Yeah.
And they had such a connection that they met, and they did do those questions. And they are married and live in New York, and they have a son already. So, you know, it was fun for their foundation.
Yeah.
Nice.
Well, if it's meant to be, they got together thanks to the glitch.
Exactly.
Thanks to the glitch, she moved to New York with her dog and started her whole life over.
I don't know if it was a glitch. I think that was my final answer, but I don't think that was a glitch. That's the best. That sounds fantastic. Like glitch. Oops.
The glitch. I've never heard the word glitch so much since Clubhouse. Glitch.
Whoops.
We're having a glitch. No,
I glitched. Great. I'm glitching again. I hit the button.
That's so
funny.
Well, Donna, it's been great conversation.
It really has, yeah.
We've got lots more to talk about, but we can discuss those things to come. But,
absolutely. We can have some fun with that.
We're going to do the love language. We're definitely going to talk about the love languages.
Let's do that.
Love languages would be fun. I've studied with some of the top people in the areas of sexuality and sensuality, right? Because that's a different component where to help demystify and understand the differences there. There's a whole bunch I've studied. So I'd love to just share in the context of relationship. And, you know, you guys have the playfulness, right? You know, you've got that foundation of friendship and talking to each other twice a day. That's a hell of a commitment. So you've got that consistency as well. Yeah. So, you know, it's the distance sometimes works in your favor because the closeness comes out.
Right.
Yeah.
Where other people might take it for granted.
Yeah, and that comes from we don't really have anything else to depend on other than to kind of just like I've been very unapologetically myself. This is how I am, kind of uncandid. I'm 10x that in the like in real life with her. So,
Same.
and she's
Yeah.
just I was like, well, there's not, and then we've stayed obviously like we share space together when we're like around each other. So we know that obviously it's not for extended periods of time, but we already know what to expect with that. And then again, we just kind of look at things similarly, have a similar level of sarcasm. So it fits. So I don't know, but yeah, but no, I love your story and just hearing your journey. And like, it's important because, one person can take your journey and learn from it, grow from it, get perspective, and it's, yeah, it's fantastic. And what we're trying to do on the podcast ultimately is like, it's not just about like long distance, like you just said, the emotional connection that's kind of like cultivated due to the distance can be stronger and can actually, for people that are in a current like a regular relationship, there's certain like values you can take from a long distance relationship and bring it into a regular relationship, a relationship to the in comparison to how people communicate with each other and what they do to cultivate the bond. Like you said, you sent us the questions, but me and her
I think the connection sometimes is missing from people that are in close distance. We have a connection based on our distance that we may not have had we done the conventional.
we wouldn't have had it.
No.
It would have been because there would have been too many like apprehensions or whatever.
Obstacles in the way.
We would have dealt with each other's representative a lot longer.
Yes. Yeah.
Or then be so busy doing things with each other that you don't have the time for that intimacy to develop.
We don't pay attention. There's no need to because we're already like, oh, we're going to the ball game. We're going to the mall. We're going to go travel here. Like, yeah, exactly. We're not, there's no, so me and her just like kind of birthed this thing out of conflict and not chaos, but out of like conflict and resistance already. So that kind of some of the harder part is already done. And it's more just, I look at a lot of like, just like my self-awareness, like the why, the what, like what motivates her to want to be in a long distance relationship? What motivates me to want to be in it? Where is this coming from? Could this be from a block? Could this be from some sort of like program or resistance to really fully committing to something? Is this something that, is she being a little bit too daring? Is she not really thinking this thing through? Like I really am very honest with myself when we have this type of conversation.
And me, we have open conversation too, which is really good.
Yeah. How does she has grandchildren. She has like, what does that mean for her to be here in America? Like, what is the period of time that if she does come here, that it's an acceptable period of time for her to go back there, obviously to like honor her family, what she has.
And that's those non-negotiables. See, these are conversations that people have to have early on.
You got to have.
Because I would hate to have had a year. So we've been talking now a year almost, right? And we've been having this relationship long distance for a year. Had I not mentioned my non-negotiables in month 1 or 2, like then what a waste of time if it wasn't compatible with what Dante wanted or what he thought or visualized. So and that for me has come with age too, because the amount of work that has gone into me not being afraid. I've met this great guy. It'd be so awesome if something happened. I'm not going to be myself because I don't want this to fuck up, right? That would have been Cindy 20 years ago. Whereas now I'm like, oh, you're great and all, but if this is not met and my needs aren't, if it's not okay and it doesn't work with you, you tell me now, because I'm going to I'll tap out. And we said we'll have some kind of, a friendship, because we spoke even before we first met, and I was like, worst case scenario, we're just going to have great conversation and be friends. Like that's worst case scenario. And how bad is that going to be? Right. So the conversation and being completely open and completely, the amount of time that people waste is what I think people really need to, even if you've got a relationship that's conventional and normal in person, not long distance, the amount of time people waste pretending to be who they're like. I sometimes I say things and you'll go, I love the way you just say things without caring about what other people think. And it's like, I'm not saying it from a place of wanting to hurt somebody.
Nah.
I do not. There's no malice in anything I say, but I'm
Speaking
not going
to being honest.
settle. I'm not settling. I've settled so long, and people settle for so long that it's like,
it's annoying.
Take it or leave it. This is the only thing I have to offer.
Yeah.
That's not changing. So I'm sorry about that. But yeah, no, definitely. I think being open is just.
And I was like, we had a conversation too. I was like, you know, I said, I'm not really in a position, you know, with the acting and stuff to where I'd be probably open to moving to Australia right now. Like maybe in retirement, maybe at a different point in my life, maybe I could start splitting more time. But I said, and you're there and you have family. I don't really expect you, you know, so it's like we're vibing and all that. But like, let's set, like we knew we were going to meet in Chicago, but I was like, we already knew, okay, well, if it does, we set hypotheticals and what ifs before we even met of like, how do we handle that? How do we handle that? So there was like, not that emotional, that like from the impulsiveness of the situation, like an impulsive reaction
that creates
to a circumstance,
that can create a mess,
emotional reaction. Yeah. There was already like, okay, well, let me work through my feelings and I know what to expect. And now I can just be in the circumstance and present and free. And if I'll cross that bridge when it's here, but I already have at least some sort of an answer to it, you know? Yeah. And that really made a big difference for she and I to have that, that understanding. And then once from that understanding, it went to, it just went to like, all right. Then I start kind of setting like, I caught myself a couple times like, well, why are you doing that instead of that? We only have this much time. And I was like, hold on. We're debating about something that is like 7-8 months out. We don't know, like, let's stay present and let's have a conversation closer to that time. And by the time that time comes, circumstances changed and everything aligned anyway into what was like kind of what I was like, hey, let's like put attention to that. So it's just about like, and also, I'm glad I remembered. The fear of loss that you normally have, you know, when you're first meeting someone, it was not that I was sabotaging or worried, but I was like, I don't like take it or leave it, babe. You're in Australia. Like nobody's really that excited about initiating or dealing with. And I think she felt
the
that
fun
too.
work.
Yeah, like who really wants to make it complicated? Please find a reason to like. This is me before
I said to Dante. I said to Dante the other day. I remember when I'd get off the phone with you, going, I'd hang up, I'd go, okay, bye, and I'd look at the phone, I'd be like, what the fuck are you doing, Cindy? I'd put the phone down and I'd get on with my day. I was like, oh, this is just, what the hell is going on? It was so funny because it was like, what is happening? And then week 1, 2, we were talking. But we were talking stupid hours before. We were like having way too long, not way too long, but they were like hours and hours and hours.
4 or 5 hours put into the phone in the day.
As you do with every relationship when it starts, it's just the nature. And
you hang up. No, you hang up.
Exactly.
No, we never did that, but we do it for fun now. Now go, you go, not me. But no, it's just
We do say I don't want to hang up. I was like, but we got shit to do.
Yeah, got to go to sleep.
Yeah,
got to go to work.
Exactly. Yeah. Get some fucking sleep. Like you're like sleep.
says the man who sleeps 4 hours.
Yeah. Right. I'm on at Clubhouse at 6 a.m. and shit. Like, all right, I gotta go back to bed. The room is over. Like that shit is anyway. So yeah, that's our story, Donna. That's like there's a lot of little things that like because I tell people, so I take it, I've been through a lot in relationships, and I've grown a lot. I've learned a lot about myself. I've paid a lot of attention to how I showed up. I'm very honest with myself. I have real conversation with myself about, where is that coming from? Is that sustainable? Are these things important? So, you get to a point where it's like, people look at it from the outside looking in and they're like, oh, you're in a long distance, like, I won't say that on here now. But you're in a long distance relationship. Oh, okay. Only you and the 2 other people involved know, like stupid crap. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like as if it's not possible to have a committed. And I was like, okay, if we're gonna put time into it, we need to make sure that because I know how I commit, and she knew how she committed, so we needed to have that clarity or whatever. And there's a level of clarity and understanding and insight that we've, and then again, and then the fact that we tied things together like a YouTube channel, a podcast. We do a lot of Instagram and social media, Facebook, TikTok posting. We're transitioning into creating things that people can go to that just give, like you can go through it, and it's like, it gives you tips, it gives you conversation and ideas and stuff, perspective about relationship stuff. So it's serving people is my point, so staying in these like things that I understand, these applying these universal laws I understand of like gratitude and positive energy, mindset stuff, and she and I setting the right intention into the relationship, you know what I mean? As opposed to just like the typical surface level things that people are looking at. So when people make that statement, I'm just like, yeah, you don't really like, you have a lot of, if you have to have the person that you're with be in front of you, you're probably, I'm not sure what you're really, you may not have the same, you don't have the same thing that I have, because me and her we know each other, because that's all we really have. We're not always just like trying to entertain each other or go do something, or just do things to fill time and space, and not trying to walk on eggshells around each other so as not to mess that up. That was a little bit too much of a rant, but
it's a lovely rant.
It was fine. It was fine.
Yeah.
All right, babe. And see, we were going to end the podcast 20 minutes ago, and then this is what happens. This is what happens. So let's end it we'll end this podcast now, Donna. We are definitely going to have you back on, because
thank you so much. It was great fun, you two.
Yeah.
Thank you. Enjoy the rest of your night. We'll end it here, and then we'll catch you on the next one. So definitely. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Have a great weekend.
Much. Thanks, Donna.
Bye.
All right. Recording.